Hi guys and welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to do a video that I saw a couple months ago on Caitlin Costello's channel, and it was a video that I thought was a brilliant idea. I've done I think similar videos to this in the past. I can't remember if I've seen it anywhere else, but it just kind of reignited a spark in my brain that yes, this is something that I want to do, and that is eyeshadows that I would like to hit pan on. I had decided to split this video into two, so I am going to do single shadows today, and then I have eyeshadows in palettes which I'm going to post tomorrow. I'm going to go through all of the eyeshadows that I want to pan in palettes tomorrow, and of course this is not everything that I would like to pan. These are just things that I would like to prioritize, and if I can't pan on them all next year then that's fine, but I just want to kind of show them to you, have them like separated out so that I can, if I need to or if I get a chance to, roll them into projects to ideally hit pan on. So that's what I'm going to do today, but before I jump into the video, if you're new here, please consider subscribing. I would love to have you in the family. Let's jump into the video. So I put all of the eyeshadows in here and I'm going to give you a little kind of sneak peek of it. It looks like that. But I'm going to go through each shade in order and talk you through what I want to pan and kind of why as well. So kicking it off with the one and only matte shade that I have in this palette. I wanted to include at least one matte. And this is a shade that I feel like is a perfect kind of everyday shadow, a perfect tone for me as well, and it's also one that is really old in my collection, and that is this one right here. This one comes from MAC and it is the shade Soft Brown, which I've had in my collection for such a long time. Honestly, like, it's been in my collection for years and years and years, and I do have some progress on it, but obviously not probably enough considering how long I've had it in my collection. And that is one of the reasons why I wanted pan on it, because it is a shadow that I absolutely love. I love the tone of this one too. It is what's right there, but it is just one that I don't reach for very often, but I feel like I could easily pan on this one. It's a hard formula to pan on though, but I have a little bit of a dip. And again, it's one that I could probably incorporate into a lot of looks. So that is going to be the first one, and again, this is Soft Brown from MAC. The next shadow we have is one from the Pastel Roses, and I have only one shadow from them that I want to include in this list, because I've showed them a lot of love, and it's not my favorite formula anymore in my collection, but I do still really like them and they're very sparkly and everything, and I do want to get some more use out of them overall, but ideally this shade specifically, and that is an iridescent shade which looks like this. This is the shade Bombshell, which is a really stunning kind of green to pink to purple kind of, again, iridescent shade, and iridescent shadows are very kind of versatile. They can be used in a lot of different ways, both on the inner corner or topper shadows, and I feel like this is the ultimate tone for me because I love the green and then the purple, and looking at it where I'm sitting right now swatching it out, it is just such a stunning shadow. I think you'll mainly see the green, but it also has a really strong pinky purple shift as well when I'm looking at it, and it's a very, very stunning shadow. I do already have a little bit of use on this shadow, but it is also quite a crumbly one, so I don't think it's going to be too hard to hit pan on this one, but it's definitely one again I want to prioritize, and I think I could definitely hit pan on that one, especially because it's an iridescent shade. The third shadow we have is one that comes from Glam Shop. We have two Glam Shop shadows that I have to talk about today, and the first one is this one right here. I'm going to roll the footage. This shade here is the shade Turbo Vata Sekrova, which is, I think, Cotton Candy in English. I bought these before they included the English names, but this is a really stunning shade. It's like a pink, like a warm pink with some orange to it too. It is of course like a duochrome, and I absolutely love these type of tones again, and obviously that's one of the reasons why I include these specific shadows. But this one also is quite old, and I can tell that the formula is getting older too, so I want to get some use out of it before it gets too old. But you can see that really bright pink. It goes actually into quite a cool tone pink in the shift, but then it goes into like a warm to peachy shift with the shift itself. But yeah, really, really stunning shade, and I think this is definitely something that I can reach for under every day. It does look very bright in the pan. You can definitely see the peachy shift there, but it looks very bright in the pan, but it is one that is quite sheer and also quite wearable for me, and I think that it wouldn't be too hard to hit pan on it because it is more crumbly and also a bit, like, you know, older, and I have a little bit of use on it already. So that is shadow number 3 from Glam Shop. And then the second shadow I have from Glam Shop that I included, I wanted again to include some of my older shadows, and this is one of them. This shade here is the shade Slotte Hollow, which I think means gold hollow if I can remember correctly. And it's a really, really stunning shade. I don't really reach for my holographic shadows from Glam Shop very often, but they are very stunning. And anytime I do pull them out, I am amazed by the holographic sheen to it. But yeah, I just have too many single shadows, that's a fact, and that's why I don't reach for them enough. But this is a really stunning, like, everyday type of brown, like a bronzy kind of shade with those holographic sparkles running through it. And this one already have quite a decent amount of use, and I feel like it won't be too difficult to pan on this one. I honestly think I could probably do it within like 5 to 10 uses. So that is definitely one that I bring in as like an easier one, and that is a swatch of it right there. I don't know if you can pick up the other hollow at all, but otherwise you can see it's a really beautiful kind of bronzy shade. It has like a warm brown base and then that bronzy shade running through it. So an easy shade again, and that's a reason why I picked these shadows, because I wanted to pick shadows that would be easier for me to incorporate, because I'm sure that I will roll like some difficult shades in other projects. So these are kind of, if I get to choose some, I'm going to pick some easier ones or shades that I just really love. So that is the next one. Then we're moving on to Terra Moons, and I have a couple of shadows from Terra Moons that I want to hit pan on as well. The first one is this shadow right here, which is Rosette. This is actually one that I have very little use on right now. It's one that I want to reach for more, and that's kind of why I put it into this like little curation. It's a really stunning, more cool tone shadow than some of the rest, but it's a beautiful kind of pinky purple base with a purple to blue to like ultraviolet shift running through it. It is a really stunning, again, more kind of subtle, colorful shadow. But again, I really love it, and I just haven't gotten any use of it really since I got it. So I wanted to pull it in. It's one of more kind of challenging shades on the list, but I just want to include some shadows that I love, but again, I haven't really had a chance to, or kind of forgotten about in my collection. And this is one of them. So Rosette, again from Terra Moons, so you can see that it doesn't really have much use, so it will be one that takes longer to pan on, but that is a swatch of it right there, and hopefully you can see just how stunning it is. I really love that shadow, and I think it's absolutely amazing. So that is the next shade. I do also think there's a little bit of a green shift running through it too. I can mainly see blue from where I'm sitting, but I think it goes into like a bit of a green shift as well straight on, which makes it even more appealing to me. Another pink shadow that I want to focus on, of course again from Terra Moons, is this shadow right here. This is the shade Star Formation, and this is definitely a warmer pink. It is one of their kind of more flakier formulas, so it's a bit harder kind of to work with, but this one smooths out quite easily. It is again a really warm pink with a peachy kind of shift running through it that also shifts into green. So it has like all my favorite type of shades. I do love a warm pink, a peach, and a green, so I think this is one that is definitely up my alley. I think again it's a very, very stunning shade. It's very sparkly, and it's one again that I haven't reached for as much as I would have liked, and that is why it's on the list. So yeah, that's the shadow right there. Hopefully you can see it. I think you can see a bit more of the pink right there, and then maybe the peach, and then hopefully maybe the gold, and then into green, but you can't really see the green. But that is a swatch of it as well at the very bottom there. Super, super pretty shade, and I think another one that I could easily incorporate into looks and hopefully pan on. And by the way, I feel like if I put these in a palette, I can use this one every single day and pair it with a different shimmer. That would be really nice, and that's kind of what I mean with that matte shade, is that I think it's such a versatile shade for me, and that is again why I feel like I can hit pan on it, even though it is a harder formula. So we have one more shadow from Terra Moons, and this is definitely one of my favorite shadows from Terra Moons, and I have a little bit of a dip in this one already. I don't think I've had this one in projects really, but I have used it a lot organically because I just think it's such a beautiful shade. It's a bit of a different one for me too, because it is actually a blue, and that is this shadow right here called Half Moon. It is definitely a bit more of a mintier type of blue, and it does have that shift, so it has like a bit more of a turquoisey green shift first, and then it goes into more of a purple shift at an angle. But yeah, it's a really, really stunning shade, and I know that I can wear this one on my inner corner if I share it out, or obviously on my lid, and I just again think it's such a beautiful shadow. It's a very bright shade as well, so it does work super, super nicely, and I felt like I couldn't just include like pinks and stuff like that into this color story because right now that's what I love, but I wanted to choose colors that challenge me a little bit too, and this is definitely one of my favorite blues and greens, and that is why I included this one, and it's also one of my oldest Terra Moon shadows, so I feel like I need to get some use out of it. So that is Half Moon, and if you look at the swatch right there, that is it, and it's again such a bright, beautiful, beautiful shadow. You can see just how like much it shines through compared to some of the other ones, and none of these are like standard shimmers. All of these are very sparkly shimmers, and that one really shines through. So that is the next shadow, and again Half Moon from Terra Moons. The next brand we have is Shine by SD, and I do have 4 shadows from them, I think, because it's a brand that I really have fallen in love with, and I'm trying to reach for more because I used to love their shadows so much. The first shade we have is one that came from the Earthborn collection from Seeking Shifts, and this is the shade Crown Flash, which is again right up my alley. It is like a pink into a gold shadow, and I love this kind of shift. It is a very common shift for me that I really love, but the reason why this one is a little bit more unique because it's a bit more pale and almost has some like silveriness to it, so that is again more of a unique shadow in that sense, but I haven't reached for it enough, and I feel like this is the type of shadow that I would really love to reach for every single day. And you can see it right there. It's just like a subtle, and it has like that pink to gold shift, hopefully you can see, but yeah, it's just such a pretty one. And with Shine by SD shadows, a lot of them have like multicolored sparkles through them, and this one does too, so it is again a shadow that I really want to get more use out of. And I have this one in here not because like I have a massive dip on it or anything. The next one I'm going to talk about is definitely in that category, but this is definitely one that I have on the list purely because of the reasons that I love it and I just want to get some more use out of it. So that is Crown Flash. Then next up, again from Shine by SD, we have the shade Golden Girl, which looks like this, and you can see that I have a massive dip in this one already, and that is because I had this one in my Panels eyeshadows, I believe this year, and I got a lot of use out of it, but I did not hit pan on it, and that is why I'm including it on this list, because I feel like I'm not very far away from pan. I honestly think it will be like within 5 uses. So there's a little bit of a give me product on this list, because again, I used to have such a good dip on it already. And this one is like a bronzier kind of shade. It has a bit more base than some of the other shadows. And it has that kind of green to cool tone, like kind of bluish shift through it. It's a type of shadow that I really love, and I do get a lot of use out of these shadows. And again, you can see the dip that I have right there, and I just want to continue using it until I hit pan, because again, I don't think I'm very far away from that. And it would also be the first Shine by SD shadow that I hit pan on, so that would be very exciting. So that is the next shadow, and that is Golden Girl, again from Shine by SD. Then one of my favorite shadows from Shine by SD at the moment is another one from the Earthborn collection with Seeking Shifts, and I think this is a favorite for a lot of people. It is the shade Ice Blink, and this is just an iridescent, so I don't know how much you're going to see in the footage, but it's a beautiful, beautiful shade. It has like a lot of different sparkles throughout it. It has like some blue, some green, some orange, and yeah, it's just such a interesting color, and I love reaching for this one on my inner corner or as a topper shadow if I just want like a little bit of sparkles, and it kind of just gives that multicoloredness to it while still being very wearable. And I have reached for this one a lot. You can see I do have a good dip in this shade, and I have already hit my 25 use goal on this one in my year research project pan, but I would love to hit pan on this one because I feel like if I don't include it on this list, I might neglect it because I have so many other shadows to focus on in that project. Because if you don't know, I'm trying to hit 25 uses this year on all my shadows. Next year will be 26 and so on. So I feel like in order to hit that at any point within the next couple of years, I need to focus on the new shadows that I haven't yet hit my goal on. So I wanted to include this one on the list because I want to keep reaching for it even though I've hit my goal already, and because I just love it so much. And that is a swatch of it right there. I don't know again if you can pick up those multicolored sparkles, but it's just an amazing shadow and I really love it. And it doesn't really have much of a base to it, so it's just, again, such a versatile shadow, and it just gives a beautiful, beautiful sparkle to any look. Alright, so I think I'm done with this hand. I think I'm gonna have to move over to this hand. But the last shadow we have from Shine by SD is this one right here called Mystic. I had this one into my, I think, deco panning project for Glittery because this is such a beautiful sparkly, sparkly shadow. It is one of the Halo Horizon shades, but it is one of their original Halo Horizon shades. They have now reformulated this and it's way less chunky now, which, you know, it's still beautiful, but I kind of miss this chunky formula because I don't have anything like it. It was more unique, but it's also like a holographic shadow. So it looks like this in the swatch, and you can see again, hopefully, just how metallic that is compared to some of the others. And it almost looks like a pressed glitter, but it's not a pressed glitter, and it has again those holographic sparkles throughout. So it is a really, really stunning shade, and the reason why I'm including it in a list is because I already have some good use on it. Obviously not as big of a dip as some of the other shades, but I feel like I could easily pan on this one, and it's such a versatile shadow for all year round, so it would be a fun one to work on. And that is the next one and the last one from Shine by SD. Then we have two shades from Deina, and both these have very minimal use, so these are mainly on the list because I want to get some more use out of my Deina shadows. And the first one out of those are probably a lot more different than some of the other shades on this list, but that's kind of why I wanted to include it, because I'm so intrigued by the shadow, but I have barely reached for it, and that is this one right here. So this here is Asteria, which is a really stunning shade with a brown base and then a bright green to almost like red shift. I wouldn't say it's like a true red, it's more of a pinky red, but it's kind of famous, this shadow, for that green to red shift. And again, I don't really have anything as vibrant and strong as this one, and it's such a beautiful shade, and it's definitely more of an autumnal shade, but you can probably see that green shift right through it right there, and with that brown base. And I don't know if you can pick up on the red shift at all. I don't think you can see it on camera, but it's definitely there, and it's such a vibrant, beautiful shade. It's a bit more grungy, but I think these are the type of shadows that I love, and I'm really hoping to get back into greens next year, because I haven't really been loving greens this year or even end of last year, but I do overall love green shadows. And I have neglected my green shadows a little bit, so I'm hoping that next year is going to be the year of green for me again, even though obviously I have a lot of pinks and stuff like that on here, because that is what I'm loving at the moment, like these kind of sheer sparkly, especially pink gleaming shadows. But I'm hoping to get back into these typical shades because I, again, absolutely adore them. And then the final kind of round single we have, and also final shadow from Deina, is this one right here. So this is the shade Lynx, which I'm purely including because this is one of the shades that I was the most excited for when it came to Deina. It isn't like, I mean, if you think about it, it's not like the most special shade. It is just this really sparkly and shiny kind of orange shadow with a gold shift, but it's not too like over the top orange. It's just like a beautiful kind of sandy gold, and that is the swatch of it right there. You can see it's a beautiful neutral shadow, and I just was so fascinated by this one before I picked it up, and I'm so fascinated by it. I love looking at it, but I haven't gotten a chance. Well, I could have reached for it any time, but I just haven't reached for it yet, and I need to. I think I reached for it like once or twice, but really not that much. So this is one that I'm including on the list because I want to get some use out of it, and I want to have a reason to reach for it because it's such a beautiful shade, and I think this is a good one for like every day. I could again pair it up perfectly, use that brown shade and this one, and it would be like a done look that is very sparkly and very beautiful. So yeah, it's a really stunning shade, and just one that I'm neglecting at the moment, and that is again why I have it on the list. So the next couple of shadows are all from Cleona, which is a little bit scary, but I did really recently hit pan on one of my Cleona shadows for the first time, and some of these are getting older in my collection, so I think it's time to start hitting pan on my Cleona shadows. And I have had kind of like a thing with Cleona that I kind of want to hit pan on them more organically, although I have had some of them in project, but that doesn't mean that I hit pan on them because they are so like firmly pressed and so pigmented that they last for absolutely ages. But I have included a couple of shades that I already have good dips on, and some that have been like very well loved for me organically. And the first one we have is this one right here, which is definitely more of a green kind of shadow. Again, this is one of my favorite shadows that I used to reach for when I was into those kind of brown based greens. So like the brown base with a greenish gold shift. I again love those shadows so much. And I got a lot of use out of this shade, and that is Corrosion from again Cleona. It is a really stunning shade. It has that like a kind of warm brown base, but it's not too warm, with a golden green shift running right through it, going into like a blue at an angle. And it's such a unique shadow, and it's such a beautiful one, and I feel like this kind of hand is definitely a bit more cohesive and this is more cohesive, but yeah, you can see it right there. It is such a stunning shade, and I have already, like I said, gotten a lot of use out of this one, and I'm hoping to get back into greens so I can continue reaching for it, because I feel like I could definitely pan on this one, because hopefully you can see there that I do have a good dip on it. And again, this is one of my absolute favorite Cleona shadows. Originally I haven't reached for it I think at all this year, which is honestly a shame because I do love it so much. So I'm putting it on the palette so I can get back into it next year. A shadow that I have reached for a lot though this year is this one right here, which is an iridescent, and this is the shade Starcat, which was from the Holiday Countdown box in 2024. I don't know if they're doing a Holiday Countdown box this year. I haven't seen any announcements, but I mean, I'm filming this on like the 12th of November, so I feel like they should have announced it if they were doing one. But this is a really stunning iridescent shade. It does have like an orange shift running right through it, going into a gold to a green, and it's a very sparkly, very stunning shade. And I have a massive dip in this one already because it's actually another one that I have hit my goal on for the 25 uses this year, and that's why I got so much use on it. It is one of my newer-ish Cleona shadows, so don't feel the need to reach for this one as much because of age. It's mainly just because I absolutely love it and I have already reached for it so much. And I think this is also one that I could easily have in like organically use if I have it in like a everyday palette, because I do love it a lot on the inner corner or again as a topper shade. So that is again a Star Cut and the next shadow from Cleona. An older shadow though from them that is absolutely one of my favorites as well, and I think this is a favorite in the community in general, and I think unfortunately they have formulated this one because they couldn't get the same pigments anymore, but this is Opulent. So this is one of the glitter multichromes, same as Corrosion. And this is definitely more of a kind of neutral-ish shadow. It has like a purplish mauvey base with just a really stunning shift running through it. It's like a gold to green to blue shift, but it's just, again, works out as such a beautiful neutral everyday shadow, even though it does have some colorful undertones. Again, I have mainly organic use on this shadow because I have reached for it so much and I absolutely love it. I don't have as much of a dip in this one as some of the other ones, but again, I do love it a lot. And that is the swatch rate at the bottom. You can see that kind of purplish base, and I don't know if you can pick up the sparkle, but I hope you can see like kind of goldish sheen running through it. But when I look at it, it looks way more cool tone, kind of green to purple. But it's again such a stunning shade, and it's one that I would love to pan on just to show that I love it so much. Again, I wanted to include some of my Cleona shadows that I do like love and some of my favorites, because if I hit pan on my Cleona shadows, I wanted to reflect which ones are my favorites and which ones I reach for all the time, rather than just shadows that I want to like hit pan on or roll into random projects. So that is the next one, and definitely again one that I really do adore, and I would love to see a pan in. Then we have a shadow that I have also reached for a lot. It's not as like special as some of the other ones, and it's also a lot more powdery. This here is Sunbeam, again one of the glitter multichromes, and it does look almost like an iridescent because it's so pale, but this one has like a pale pink base with a gold to kind of bluish shift running through it, and it's not again as sparkly, even though it is one of their glitter multichromes. I feel like the particle size in here is quite small, but I do have a massive dip in this shadow because I have reached for it a lot. I love this one as an inner corner highlight because it is so pale, or again on my lid. And they have reformulated this one, so this specific formula isn't available anymore, and I actually have the reformulated version, which I picked up because I do love this shadow so much. But yeah, I feel like I could easily again incorporate this one and maybe pan on it on my corner and stuff like that. And I can definitely feel like this formula is getting older. This is definitely one of my Cleona shadows that haven't held up as well. It just, I can tell it's getting older, and I do want to give some love to it. It does still perform really well, but it's a little bit more powdery, so I do probably need a glitter glue with that shadow if I'm going to use it on my lids. And yeah, that's one of the reasons why I want to show it some love, because I can tell there is a slight formula change, which is alarming, but again, it's still really beautiful. It just requires a little bit more work, but I would love to hit pan it on in 2026 just to show it that extra love. The second to last shadow we have is this one right here, which is called Vermilion. This is definitely one of the more shiftier shadows. This is one of the deep iridescent multichromes, which is like a tan based shadow with a really strong shift. I think they made these to be iridescent shades but for deeper skin tones, and with this one the formula is very smooth, so it's a bit different than some of the other Cleona shadows, but it's absolutely stunning, and I have a lot of use on this one already, and that is mainly from organic use because this used to be one of my absolute favorite Cleona shadows, but I haven't reached for it that much in the last kind of year or two. But it has again a really strong shift. Not sure if you're going to be able to pick it up on camera, but it has like a pink running through it. You can see a really vibrant pink right there going into a gold to a green, and again it's a super shifty shadow, but maybe you can pick up the kind of, yeah, I think you can see the green shift, green and gold shift right there in the pan, like where that dip is. Yeah, you can see it right there. You can see just how shifty that one is. It's so stunning, and again it's one of my favorite Cleona shadows, so I would love to hit pan on this one, although I do think it's going to be a little bit harder because it is a bit more of a smoother formula, so you don't pick up as much, like as many like pigment particles whenever you use it, and they tend to be harder to pan on. But again, I think I can do it because it is again a shadow that I really love, and I do already have that dip going. Then the final shadow from Cleona that I have, and the final shadow for this video, is this one right here. This is another one of those kind of shadows that I really love, which has that pink to gold shift running through it. So a little bit repetitive to some of the other shadows in the list, but I do really love this shade quite a lot, as you can probably tell, because I have similar shades to this on this list since before. But this here's Blaze, which I haven't said yet, which is another one of the glitter multi-chromes, and I have a lot of them in here because they used to be my favorites. They're some of the first ones I ever picked up, and this is again one of my top picks from that selection. This one also have a lot of use. I kind of had to like press this one in a couple times because it has crumbled a little bit. It isn't as kind of crumbly or like, not like old feeling, but kind of old feeling as Sunbeam, but I can definitely tell this one is getting older too. But it still performs really nicely. It's just a little bit more fragile, I guess, and it does have a really strong shift. I think you can pick it up there as well, going into like a gold and like even maybe a green, not quite, but like it does really have a beautiful shift. And that is right there. It's not too dissimilar from Vermilion, but it's just not as like bright, I would say. That is the main difference. But that is the shadow right there, and again another one that I really love, and I just love to pan on this one because again it is one of my favorites, and you can see that because I already have a lot of use on it. So there we go, those are all the shadows for this selection. We have them right here. I believe there's 19 of them, and you can see they're such beautiful shadows. Yeah, so these are the ones that I would love to pan on for my singles collection. They would just be amazing, and again, I want to use my singles collection more. I want to get more pans in my singles collection. And yeah, these are the shadows that I started to pick for this video. So hopefully you're going to see some of these shadows roll into parties next year. I'm hoping I can do that, and maybe I can even like pan on some of these organically. But I'm going to wrap up the video here. Again, I will have my palette version of this up tomorrow, so you can look forward to that. And in the meantime, I hope you're having the best day, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye guys.